What's going on, my Catfish people? Number one after show. Lois and Sydney. Is he going to Sydney? Is there even a Sydney? Stay tuned to find out.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
So smooth. Shout out to Constance, because she said we should put this bad boy on. So shout out to Constance one time. Smooth operator. Big Daddy Kane. This struck what, 1989?
I think it's 89.
I wasn't even born yet. All right, that's a funny part.
It's like Commodores.
See, I don't even know what that word means. But shout out to everybody tuning in. Thank you for joining us. This is the MTV's Catfish AfterBuzz after show. We are starting a little bit late, but we are still here to do the damn thing. So of course, I am your host, Jimmy V. I'm here joined with my beautiful co-host.
Thank you so much, Constance Dunn. Join me on Instagram at Constance Dunn, at Twitter, Constance Dunn.
And you can find me, of course, at Be Your Own Dad on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Today, we do have a fallen soldier, a fallen co-host, our boy, Casey Boyd, a.k.a. Chaos, but he's got a good reason because it's his birthday.
Yes, it is.
So it's only right we celebrate with the man and, of course, with you guys at home, too. So I'm going to go ahead and light these candles. You know, we can do a quick countdown from, 10? And then we'll blow them out for our boy, Kelly, all right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, shout out to our boy Kelly. We miss you. Shout out to the engineer Steve, of course, always has our back. Happy birthday. But let's not keep the people waiting. Let's get into this, all right? So, we've done these after shows now a few times. We know the story. We start to see similar patterns in every single one. In this case, we have Lois and Sydney here. Real quick background on Lois here. 30 years old, from New York, single father of 3. I give him mad respect. He's holding down, taking care of his family, of course. Then the backstory on Sydney is she's going through some few things, and she's been talking to Lewis for about 5 to 6 months or so, and I guess they've been pretty much helping each other out, especially in the parenting realm. And it gets to a point where Lewis actually suggests, hey, I want you to live with me and my family and all this stuff. So it gets pretty serious at that point. And of course, we see with these catfishes, they always say, I love you.
I know. And it makes sense because Luis is such a paternal kind of guy. He is a patriarch. He's taking care of 3 daughters and he's working hard, 70
Good guy.
Construction.
Good guy,
So it makes sense that he's going to want to take care of the woman he loves. Sydney, or should I call her Sydney?
Nay, Destiny, Sydney, hit the nay.
Monet.
I don't know what it was, but they were obviously having a good time with that on the show. Now, in this case, he actually sends money down to help her out in the situation.
Do Re Mi was sent.
Sent $60. Right. But the interesting thing, too, is he's never video chatted with her, was never sent any pics, only saw the pics that were only up at the first time. This Sydney character isn't really active on social media, but they speak on the phone all the time. So it's pretty convincing.
It is, and especially one of the things that Lois talks about is that she is very different than other women, and one of the things that hooks him is that she's always asking about him. She's very kind of focused on him, and that really gets me. So there's a lot of girls.
Very caring.
Yeah, and she was like asking things. You know, we had these screenshots. How was your daughter's recital, et cetera, et cetera. So that really gets him interested, in love with her.
Exactly, which we did see they actually got an actual phone call even before she knew Nev and Max were in the picture. Of course, the phone call that she just said, she just sounded very caring. At that point, he said, "Are you at the shelter?" And she's like, "Yeah, you know, I'm just, I'm more worried about you." So it was kind of, she always made things about him. And I think we come to find out later on in the episode that's kind of the picture that she puts up, that she wants to focus everything about you and it's not about me, which we find out she was up to something.
Right, the honey trap.
Speak about it.
Yeah, well, because it's interesting. There's people that are just like that, genuinely very kind, very thoughtful, but people that have an agenda, scammers, sociopaths. I'm not saying she's a sociopath, but people that have an end game will do that because they know that that is the way to a very nice guy's heart. And it works with the other genders as well, but especially with nice guys. And you know, it's interesting. Catfish week after week reminds me of how lonely people are increasingly in our culture. And because of that loneliness, the vulnerability. I mean, I've been lonely before, and I know
Same
that.
here.
Right. So things can get a little wacky. So I'm not, you know, putting somebody down because of that. We've been there.
Yeah.
We know what we speak, but it's nonetheless, you know, a sad statement on a good guy who is lonely. He's working a lot. He does not have time to hang out in bars. He probably doesn't want the ladies at the bars, but
You don't. And he did mention he works close to 70 to 80 hours a week. So what time do you have to actually go out and actually look for a mate? I think that's why he turned to online dating.
Right.
So as we continue on with the episode here, I thought it was pretty interesting. Nev and Max, they've been at this for what, about 5 seasons now. We know their relationship is getting close. We see it at a point. Nev is giving Max a massage.
Yeah.
They're getting very close. I don't know. I think as viewers, we like to see their relationship, but they kind of do a few things on purpose just to keep us entertained.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's funny because if you've seen the original Catfish movie in 2010, there was a funny thing because Nev actually had a, like, they call it a tramp stamp, but it's a tattoo.
I remember, yeah. I spoke about that a few after shows, actually, yeah.
And it's funny because I, of course, you know, he got up and his shirt came up and I was like, does he still have the tramp stamp?
I actually heard he got that removed, actually.
Okay, all right.
So shout out to Nev.
Yeah,
Good
people
thing, brother.
spoke and he listened. But it is, yeah, they do some funny stuff because people, you know, have asked them, are they in a relationship? We know that's not the case.
Right,
but-
it's all fun and games. Actually, we did see Nev's wife on the red carpet on
Yeah.
the VMAs, and brother, he's doing good.
He's going to be a
he's
father, too.
Yes, he is, exactly. So once again, shout out to him, you know.
Yeah.
But as we do see, as the episode continues on, when they get down to the nitty gritty,
Yeah.
let's do the research. Let's look up the numbers, the pictures, and all that stuff.
The recon.
And one thing comes up interesting when they do the image search. They look up Sydney's picture, and it comes to match a person named Monique.
Yeah.
So off rip, we know the picture isn't Sydney who he's been talking to.
And she's a cute girl.
She is.
Yeah.
She looked very cute in the picture. I could understand why Lois would have fallen for her.
Yeah.
At that point.
Especially so many, you know, they always say guys are more visual than girls as well. So, and she's got the requisite, you know, where she's got her back turned, a little silhouette.
She got the poses right.
Yeah.
She got the
She has the derriere.
the ass, which
Yeah,
it
the
means in my
ass.
terms.
Yeah. Going, and she's got all these like cutesy kind of cleavagey shots.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, nice girl, good looking. Louis think he's
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Now, the interesting thing, when they do more research, this Monique character has she's got a dirty past.
Yeah.
Meaning she got some legal issues, 2nd degree forgery.
Right.
She's into scam. I don't know what that exactly means, but in my head, that just rings off a scam artist.
Yeah.
Someone who will do anything for a quick buck. And having that as your past, that's not a good look at all.
Right, and there's always this idea. I actually took criminal justice for a while. I was thinking of
Me
being,
too, actually. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I graduated with my criminal justice degree. You wouldn't know that, right? Yeah.
Back
Now
east,
go
yeah.
ahead. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. I mean, I always applaud people that, you know, kind of go for fight the good fight, you know, for sure. So I didn't make it that far, but I did take a couple classes, which makes me an expert, of course.
Right.
And I've watched CSI too, so I know all things.
All
Anywho,
seasons.
Yeah, as we
Right.
know, if you've actually been busted and put to trial and found guilty, that means you've probably not just done it once.
You've done it a few times.
Yeah, it's usually the ratio is 30%, if I recall from my class there.
I ain't gonna lie, I slept through a few classes, but hey, I still got the degree, okay?
Right. So if someone's been found guilty, they've done it it's not their first time out at the rodeo.
Which is why by the end of the episode, we understand why she's so good at what she does.
Correct, Amondo.
But let's continue moving on. So after they do their research, they come back to Lewis and say, we found this, this, and this. At that point, you can tell in his face, he's obviously disappointed. They reach out to her, no answer. Yeah. But he's like, we'll keep trying. Let's take a break now. But as they enter the car, she calls back. Yeah. So, of course, they caught everything on camera. And at first, she's like, this isn't a good time to talk. But Nev's been doing this for so long. I feel like he can make a snitch, if that makes sense. He can make a person who doesn't want to say something. Because she started out with, no, this isn't a good time to talk. And then as he said, look, I know what's going on. I know what you're doing. Pretty much calls her out on it. And then she's like, okay, but I don't want to meet at the shelter, though. Can we do it somewhere else? So at that point, at least they set up a actual meetup.
And where?
Dallas, Texas.
Yes, and
at the park, though. At the park, as we mentioned last week, the #1 catfish meetup. If you want to find a catfisher, go to your closest local park. Okay.
Yeah, and if anyone ever wonders why the parks are empty and maybe that we should, do something else with them, no, we have to keep them open because where else are catfish showdowns gonna go down?
Especially with that scary, crazy truck too. Coming on down, so that's why.
Don't start with the truck. I won't get through through the show.
So they make their move to Dallas. Now the interesting part is that once again, as they go to Dallas, I believe right before they took off on the plane, Louise texted her, said, "Hey, I'm excited. I can't wait to meet you." She responded back, "I can't wait to meet you too." I mean, so you're thinking like, wow, this is good. I don't know who the person is, but it's a person who's excited to meet me back. How what's the phrase they said? What's the worst that can what's the worst that could happen or something like that?
Oh, right. What's the worst that could happen? I think that's what they said.
And I think things went left all the way. Yeah. So they finally get to Dallas and they go to the park and surprise, it's not who we thought it was. It was Nay. There was which is the actual name, Nay. I don't think it was short for anything specifically. I don't think they ever said.
I don't think so either.
But it was Nay, and she actually showed up.
Yeah.
Which I found was interesting there. And she said, I really feel bad. That's why I showed up. As she says, at that point, Max is like, okay, well, spill the beans. What's true? What's not true? And they start to ask about the mother, the sister. Do you have kids?
Right.
And everything was a lie besides the kids part.
Yeah.
So at this part, they all already know, okay, so you're pretty good at lying, because they referred back to the conversation that they first had, and she sounded very believable. Hey, how you doing? I'm just over here at the shelter, everything stuff. So at that point, it's like, okay, I can believe what she's saying because she sounds caring.
Right.
But that was a front.
I know, and that's where I whipped out my phone and I started looking up the difference between a pathological and a compulsive liar.
Let's hear it.
And here, this is just interesting.
Take out your notebooks, people.
Yep. So pathological basically is somebody who lies a lot naturally, but there's an intentionality. There's an end game, and they actually have an alternate reality. Okay.
Okay.
Pathological. So now let's get to compulsive. Compulsive is habit. I might not be trying to get money from you or trying to get anything. I just lie all the time. And in fact, I feel comfortable lying. I feel more comfortable lying than I feel telling the truth. And so that's a compulsive. They might not have any ill intentionality, even though it hurts, all that. But yeah. So in other words, pathological is bad. Compulsive is bad, but it's a little more less kind of evil, let's say.
So is it safe to say Nay, she fell into the compulsive?
See, it's really interesting because I kind of had her as compulsive.
Yeah.
But then when there's, again, intentionality, you get to that's the pathological.
Because she did have clear intentions.
Right.
As she said that she had no money for her kids, and she needed to buy diapers and such.
And I hate
that's
when
wild.
they use the kids. I hate when they use the kids. I
Same
hate it. I
here.
hate it because when they say, "Oh, I did it to support my family," you know
That's
what I
an
mean? Oh,
excuse.
yeah, exactly. It's
Why
an
not
alibi.
get a job?
Yeah, exactly. I'll say it. I've been poor. I never thought to fleece somebody.
Right, yeah. I've had some tough times, and I've never
Yeah.
said I'm gonna go rob a person because I need to do this, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's standing up, taking responsibility for
Right.
the situation that you are in.
Yeah, this was a confusing episode for me because at one point when they got down to brass tacks, am I jumping ahead?
No, it's fine.
Okay, she did say, actually, none of this matters to me. So
And that's what was the big shocker the whole episode.
absolutely, and that's when you go into personality disorders where people just can't really feel anything. So, but I can. People could steal my lunch money all day long. They could pull the wool over my eyes.
Yeah.
So she had me a little bit when she starts talking and she's saying she does care about him. We did talk. And the thing, you have to bring it back to $60. Really? She is
She
not
did
a
all
smooth
that.
operator. We cannot dedicate that Big Daddy Kane song to her because that
No.
is not smooth.
Can't do it.
Not a good use of your time if you're a scammer.
And I thought the interesting thing was right before she said, I don't care about anything about this. She admitted to owning up to everything and
Right.
saying she wants to move on from this. She wants to continue a relationship, blah, blah, blah. And then she even said that she was hurt. She said she was hurt that she thought Lewis would be more affected or whatever the case was. And then she said, you know what? I'm going to just say it. I don't care.
Yes.
You know what? I don't care about this. And that's when you saw the real her.
Right. And that's the thing when speaking of when she actually takes the idea of, Lewis is the victim here and kind of turning him into the villain. That seems like a borderline or a sociopath move. Again, from my brilliant at-home research.
At-home research, right? In which pretty much towards the end of the episode, they came to a conclusion that, first of all, she's a great actress. She's a great entertainer. Shout out to everybody that's in the live chat right now.
Yeah.
She plays a great victim. And that's what she played the whole time.
Right.
Even though she was the one doing wrong.
Right.
She played the victim as if things went wrong on her side.
Right, and that's actually, Tektro Che.
Tektro.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's out there, and he actually said she was so cold, and that's what we were saying before. We were like, cold.
Yeah,
she's cold.
Doesn't care.
And that's usually, I got to tell you, when someone's been so blatantly, they're the one who has been, the transgressor, they're the one that's done the bad stuff. And
It's
they
because it's
turn it-
happened to them over and over times, I feel like.
Is that right?
I think so.
The
I think the more something negative always happens to you and you do that same act, it's just because you've been hurt by it so much, you become numb to it. And it's like, I can do the same thing to you. What do you think?
Interesting. Well, you know what? This goes to compassion, right? Because it's good to have some compassion for her, for Nay. She doesn't seem, she seems like a young woman. I didn't know her. I didn't catch her age. I didn't
Yeah,
see
I
anything
don't
like
think they said
that.
it.
So things can change. You can make mistakes. Luis, to his benefit, he's going to be okay by this. You know what I mean? And again, it was $60. It was betrayal. It was a lot of bad stuff. But did she go and commit the crime of the century? No, she didn't. Is she a young woman? Can she change? And hopefully this will transform her,
She can, yeah. I definitely have to agree with Lewis on this. He said he wasn't all that mad at the situation. He's more mad at himself that he allowed himself to be in that position, and I can completely understand that.
Yeah, and that's something that, people who have been swindled. I remember the Madoff. Do you remember the Bernie Madoff scandal?
No, I don't.
Okay, so maybe this was like 7 or 8 years ago. There's this guy in Palm Beach. He was a finance guy. He swindled people out of millions. He didn't swindle dumb people. He swindled very smart, affluent, multi-millionaire business people out of tons of money. Madoff went to prison, and I remember reading about some of the people who had been swindled. Again, smart people, grown-up, mature people, that they're very upset at themselves.
You know what? This is actually interesting that this was today's episode because there's an active story going on. I don't know if you actually heard of the story. Down in Florida, there's a young boy by the age 19. He he's a con artist. He got caught before because he was a fake doctor. Now, this guy went so far to get a actual building. He had patience. He called himself Dr. Lovejoy or something. And this went on for over a year. And it wasn't recently, earlier this year, that he actually got caught, went to jail for it. Now, another story came back up that he went to go purchase a car, and he had a co-signer, a older lady willing to co-sign. And it wasn't until another salesman noticed him in the dealership, like, wait, I've seen this guy before. And that's a true scam artist there. So once again, they're talented. They're just on the wrong side of the field here. It's like,
Right.
you know how to talk to people. You know how to be persuasive, but you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you put that towards something positive, they'd be pretty much successful.
I know that's the question that's always asked with scam artists, because I used to always say that too. I go, man, they put so much into
Effort
maybe
and,
making $10,000 like in 9 months, maybe.
Come on.
And it's because they're getting something else out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of brings me to this catfish. Every week after week, people do get scammed. They get upset, but they were getting something out of it. It doesn't mean it's right to do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. But all those hours of conversation with Luis had with Nay, he was getting some kind of companionship out of it. Again, it doesn't mean it's right, but he was getting something out of it. And before I forget, can we just flash back to last week to Graham?
Oh yeah, we got some news about last week's show. I don't know if you guys did tune in, but it was a very interesting episode.
Yeah.
And we got some behind the scenes news for you. Constance, take it away.
Well, you know what, Catherine, if you guys remember last week, Catherine and Graham, Catherine was really sweet. And they kind of had this relationship, Graham and Catherine. End of the line, she reached out to me on Instagram, and she is so sweet. We were saying, a lot of nice things about her, and she said that it really made her feel really good, and she thanked us. And I did check out her Instagram, and it looks like her and Graham have reconnected. She said that they are best friends. So best of luck to them, and we hope that works out, right? Kelly, if he was here, he'd be hot. Because that put a damn bee in his bonnet.
It did. Yeah. And we did check out her Instagram, and there is a picture of them actually laying down. So I'm not making any assumptions, but I'm saying Graham is a smooth operator, if you know what I mean, okay?
Yeah. And you know what? Just be careful, girl. Be careful. But I didn't think Graham had, again, committed the crime of the century. I thought he was a shy guy. He was a young guy. We have a little feedback. She's like Joan the Scammer from Chocolate Tie. Chocolate Tie is with us every week, and we thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah.
You're loyal. I respect that. I like that.
Yeah, we like that in a woman, huh? Loyal.
Hey, that's right.
Thinking about other people. And Tektro J, she got scammed, so she became a catfish. Interesting.
That's what you get. Yeah, that's what you get. When you do wrong, I shouldn't say it like that, but I'll say when you put negative stuff into the world, negative stuff comes back.
It always is. And Luis, because he is a sweetheart, he was saying that to her. They were kind of counseling her, like, do not do this. This is a bad path, man. Yeah. This doesn't just hurt other people, it hurts yourself.
Agreed.
And by the way, Luis's face, if you were watching the episode tonight, do check it out, especially when he's in the park and he walks up and he sees Nay, because he's expecting some fine Sydney action.
Nope. Yeah. He got
a different look, a different profile.
I'm not gonna say, but it looked like a few Snickers combined. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not trying to be mean and all, but it just wasn't what he expected.
Exactly, and his face the whole time could be a meme. Someone needs to screenshot that, because that is hilarious.
He was mad, yeah, and I'd be mad too. Which it's crazy because they said, "I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to meet you," and you knew once they came face to face that so-called connection wasn't there.
Right, and his expression was this interesting mix of anger and disgust and hell no.
And it's like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, and he's just like.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Definitely. But we really wish him the best, because you know what? sometimes people, when they have these things happen, they usually go through these stages of grief, as it were. At first they can't believe it, and then they accept it, and they get angry. They get angry at themselves, and we hope that, of course, he will, maybe this will give him some publicity, and he'll meet someone of his caliber.
Hey, my man is a hard-working man. He got 3 kids. I'm sure they're lovely, too. Go show him some love,
Yeah.
because he deserves it. Now, Nay, on the other hand, she can go nay somewhere else. Just don't come along around Lewis's territory.
Yeah.
That's all.
And you know what? She, again, going back to, she is a young woman. It's not the end.
She's very young. Look, no more than probably 21.
Yeah, and even if she wasn't, but the idea is that, it's not going to get you anywhere. And it got her $60. I still don't get the payoff.
$60 for all that work.
You
all the
know what?
talking, all the conversations.
There could have been more money involved.
Could have. Like I said, if she switches her ways around, how about you sell cars? Legally, might I say. All right? Because you're obviously convincing. Use that skill that you have to sell cars. Maybe look into stocks. I don't know. Because you can use that for something good instead of looking for the short $60.
And the thing is that the payoff, though, is always the idea that there's a thrill of having gotten something over on somebody. That's usually it. It's, when I was reading up on borderline personality disorder, which is more common for women, and then sociopaths,
I know.
which is basically unstable, but that's part of it, where they're the ones who have done wrong, and then they'll turn it around on you. And it's a real mind bend. And just from my layman's looking at stuff, don't ever try to argue with a borderline or a sociopath, because you will not win.
Don't ever try to argue with a woman, period, okay? I mean, fellas, you're not going to win.
Yeah, that is funny, because one of my guy friends, and he is a therapist, and he always says, it's really easy for guys. He's like, just be nice, be mellow,
That's all.
Yeah, he's like, listen to a woman. Don't be a doormat, don't be used and abused. Yeah. But I got to tell you, sometimes it's just easiest to just, guys that listen or can do a really good job of pretending to listen.
Right, but they're not actually. I'm low-key guilty. I'll be on my phone doing it, and they'll be like, Jimmy, are you listening? Yeah, you were talking about your hair. That's how I be. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, speaking of, can we just talk for a second about your show?
Oh.
Because it relates to this.
Yeah.
Because Be Your Own Dad is,
yes.
I love the name of it.
I got my own brand, Be Your Own Dad. It's all about turning your negatives into positives. So that's why I'm trying to say, if Nia uses her skill to persuade people, turn that into a positive. Sell cars. Even start off smaller. Go to garage sales, pick up some items, start to sell them on eBay or something. Your skill is worth more than $60.
Right.
But my show, which does air on a new app that's about to drop, make sure everybody go cop that. It's called Bid Chat, all right? I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 East. Called In the Booth, your boy Jimmy V. But all about motivation and, once again, just turning your negatives into positives and being able to move on from your situation there.
Yeah, and the thing is I think there's the idea that no one ever makes a mistake, or the idea that when people get upset at themselves, and I'm really, really guilty of this, but there's the idea that mistakes happen, and it is part of life, and it is
True.
It sounds like a cliche, but it's not the end of the world. Like for Luis, I bet something really good will come out of this, and I bet he'll go on.
I hope so, yeah. Whether it's the exposure of his situation, maybe maybe somebody will reach out and be like, hey, this is a man with 3 kids. He's doing it on his own. Let's help him out somehow.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because it's the word I say every episode.
What do you say?
The power of fantasia.
It's that fantasy, yeah.
It's so alluring, and it's this thing called the halo effect, and especially when you see a big butt and a smile, as they say.
Gone.
Is that you want to believe, and I think that's why people feel upset. They feel upset by themselves. They feel like they're a sucker. But the idea is that, there's something so powerful about that illusion and about a pretty face and about a sweet a sweet
It's
voice.
not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. Shout out to Belle Bib DeVoe. Never trust a big butt and a smile because it's so real. And they actually just dropped a new single recently.
Did they really?
Yeah, which I'll be talking about on my show in the booth. So yeah, go check that.
You know
that
what?
out
They
there.
were great with harmonies.
Oh yeah, that's a legendary group right there.
Yeah.
I bet you any money if you played that song Poison in any party, everybody's gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Poison.
That's a great one. And I think that whole time period of music is
whole different game.
especially the harmonies from back east. I went to undergraduate at Temple University, and at the time there were a lot of like, I guess it's, what is it, 4-part harmonies, you know, where the
Yeah.
men sing together. Almost must have come from choir training, but I think there's probably a great resurgence to be had if someone's a smart A&R guy or producer out there to put together a new group, because everybody enjoys some talented, you know, guys and good
course.
voices. So we're completely going along with script right now.
I know, right? Exactly. Let's move into predictions and see what we got for next week, huh? And there goes my favorite music. I love it. Yeah.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
So good thing was, of course, they always give us a little preview of what we have next week, and we spoke about this earlier on in the season. We are seeing different situations.
Yeah.
So next one, this will be the first, not the first one, but I believe the most recent episode. We'll see that it's actually a guy on guy situation.
Men with men, which means Kelly and Jimmy will both be gone. I'm joking.
Listen, y'all might not see me. Nah, nothing against the LGBT.
No,
I got
no.
love for y'all, of course. So I'm just glad, once again, as a viewer, I'm seeing something different within the season than the same old situation over and over. So that will be an interesting one.
It will be, and it's a dynamic that is going to be really interesting. We don't see it a lot, but it definitely exists out there, and I know I'll have a lot to say about that. And I know you guys probably will. It'll be really interesting for you, because as guys, because it looks like one guy might be out and one guy might be
in.
Yeah, might be in, married.
If that sounds right, out in.
Yeah, but we're definitely looking forward to it. I know that this season that Nev and Max have really mixed it up. They want to show us all types of catfishing from all walks of life.
And then actually at the start of the episode, they mentioned how long they were filming for. They started in the summer, went into the fall, then it went to spring, they were back in the summer. So it just shows they do a whole lot of work. It's a full year of filming to get all these episodes out. So I mean, that give props to them. They definitely do put in the work. So
Yeah, and it is a popular show, and it's a popular show for a reason, because again, there's a lot of catfishing going on, but there's a lot
This
of
is real, people.
loneliness.
It exists.
Yeah, it's a lot of loneliness, and I know that, you know, society is changing a lot. Technology, families are different, you know, and so anybody who's out there who's listening, it's like we always do your good
do your research.
do your research,
Do your Googles.
but also keep yourself healthy, and go out there, drop the phone, take a walk, go to a coffee shop, say hello, go out and keep those flesh on flesh, you know, person to person ties healthy.
Work on them personal skills. And
Yeah.
we're not talking about through text, through Twitter.
Right.
You know, put the phone down. Go talk to somebody.
And in fact, you just said that you would be talking, a girl would be talking to you and you'd have the phone up. All right, I'm going to have to say now, because I was in a restaurant the other night and there was a very good looking young lady. And I
Yeah.
got to say, the guy, there was a looks differential. We'll just say that, right? And she had it all going on. And he was on the phone. And I said,
Paid no mind to
I said,
it.
oh my gosh, if I was that girl, A, there'd be a phone in the water. And B, I'd walk. And that's the last you'd see of me.
And that's what happens because of technology, okay? That's what happens.
Learn to pay attention, especially guys. My gosh, if you're a guy and you can pay attention to a woman, again, lock in, left eye, right eye, both eyes. You will be increasing your mate value by many, many leagues.
Listen, she dropping gems on y'all. I hope y'all paying attention, and I hope y'all tune in next week too as well, because that is our show. But once again, I am your host, Jimmy V. I can be found on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Be Your Own Dad. Make sure you go check out my new show. It's gonna be popping. Download that Big Chat app. Go search Jimmy V. Much love. Where can they find you at?
Constance Dunn. You can find me at Twitter, Constance Dunn, Instagram, Constance Dunn, and we have to give our belated birthday wishes again to Kelly. We miss you, and we miss all of you guys throughout the week, and we hope you'll join us next week.
That's right. And make sure you continue the conversation in the comment section below, because trust me, we'll be there talking that talk. But until then, see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.